All right, so I got my little sundew here, and unfortunately, I wasn't feeling well, and I put some baking soda into a water bottle because I had an upset stomach, and I forgot that I had baking soda, and I dumped it on my sundew, and I did some damage to it. So I'm going to repot it, and it likes to be in a tight little swampy pot. So what we're gonna do is we got some sphagnum moss, and that's what it likes to grow in. And so we're gonna take some of that and put it into our water here. And so we'll get this soaking while we start cleaning out the roots and see what sort of damage we have done. I have done. So I think that might be enough. So push that down in there. Give that some squeezes. All right. All right. So normally I grow this plant. I keep it in this little dish, and I always keep the dish filled with water, so it's kind of in a swampy condition. If you don't know what sundews are, they are a carnivorous plant. These are the little sundews, and when they're happy, they have little droplets dripping off of them. This one is not happy right now. And they catch little bugs, gnats, fruit flies, things like that in your house. A lot of I keep it around my other potted plants in the window, just so that it can collect those little gnats and bugs that are coming out of the soils of the other plants. So got a little tray here I'm going to use, and so we're going to be done with this. I bought a new pot, and you can see it's been kind of root bound, and the roots feel pretty good. We're going to pull all the old moss out, especially since it's got that baking soda water in it. I mean, I had a nice little moss growing on here, so I'm pretty bummed out. This is one of my favoriteest little plants, and I've always loved this little dude. So I see a little bit of good moss growing over here. I'm going to pull all this dead stuff away carefully without ripping apart the plant. Like I said, it's all swampy, and that's how it likes to grow. So we're going to pull all of this away till we get to just the roots. So take a few minutes to do this. Some of the old roots are snapping off, means they're weak, so I'm not too worried about it. There's some green moss growing in there, so I'm going to try to keep most of that, but I'm going to get rid of all this really contaminated moss here and get to the root, and hopefully revitalize this little dude. It's always been so happy where it's been. So like I said, I was pretty bummed that I accidentally dumped baking soda water. Oh, and there's a little baby one. I'm going to try to keep that. A little baby. Oh, look at there. Okay, we'll save that. And we'll just continue getting the rest of this yucky out of here. Might leave that really top layer there. Might be okay, because I'm going to just really soak this thing down. So no more contaminated. And I've never repotted this, so you know, I'm not sure how the roots really look, but I'm going to assume that they are always dark. And just get most of this out of here. Okay, now I can see all the dead leaves. I'm just going to pull those out of there. I mean, there's always a certain amount of dead kind of undergrowth that kind of like builds up on itself. So it'll be good to start fresh here. There we go. There's some good moss, living moss in there. I'm going to try to keep some of that. Put that over onto the good side. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So what I've found is you want to try to wrap it up pretty tight. It likes to be nice and snug in all of this. So I'm going to do a nice little root ball, and I can tell right now I'm going to need more of this. So we're going to get this, more of this over here. Oof, big mess. It's okay. Could always clean it. All right. I'm going to get a nice wet layer in the bottom. What I got there. Oh, that looks like somebody's dental floss was in the bag. The stuff you find. All right, nice mushy layer down there. And we'll start building up this little root ball here. Break that up a little bit. All right. So we're gonna pack this in here pretty good. Like I said, it likes to be in a swamp. So we're gonna keep it a swamp here. There's a little bit over here. Put that in there. I can't help but get a little sentimental about my plants and kind of feel it's like a pet, you know. I'm not going to equate it to a cat or a dog, but you know, I get a little sentimental because, you know, I'm the one taking care of it, and when I do something boneheaded, I feel bad. So I'm trying to do the right thing and get it back to health, right? And so we're going to pack that in there. And I think we're about there. I want to shred that up a little more. Okay. And then I got the little baby sundew here. I'll just slide on in over on the side. Seems like the baby one's happier than the mother plant. We're gonna see what happens there. But like my mom said, you know, ultimately herbicide is not a crime. So, you know, there's that. So, all right. So I'm gonna clean out this dish a little bit. So I got a new swamp. So what I like to do is these stay wet all the time, and I mean soaking wet. Even the dish, I'll fill this dish as far as I can, and we'll let that drain. It might be a little too much, but it'll sit in the water like that all the time. So I think I got that snug enough. Not that stuff. I want the good clean stuff over here. Maybe a little more over here. So, but I think we are on the road to recovery here. I got this plant a couple years ago from Predatory Plants. They specialize in these type of plants, and they have, you know, the Venus flytraps and the flute looking little plants, or pitcher plants, I guess is the proper name. So great company. It came really quickly and very healthy, and this plant was super healthy until I messed up and dumped that baking soda water in it, and then it went downhill pretty quick. But I think we're gonna make it, and so that's it. That's how you transplant a sundew.